Hi, I'm Cheryl, and today's card has a little hidden surprise in it. And this is really cute just as it is, but watch what happens when you open your card up all the way. Oh, happy birthday! I know, this is so fun, isn't it? I just love cards that have little extra things in them. So that's what we're going to do today. This is what you're going to need. You'll need some Whisper White cardstock or other thick cardstock. I noticed that Stampin' Up! Is no longer carrying, I guess, their thick Whisper White cardstock because it's not showing up when you go to shop. They have the very vanilla thick cardstock, so I don't know what the deal is with that. So, but I like a nice thick cardstock for my base. So I'm using right now. I'm using the Neenah Classic Crest Solar White in 110-pound weight. So it's like really sturdy. So you're going to need a piece that's 8 by 5, and then we're going to score it at 1 inch and at 2 inches, and we're going to do a fold just like this. You see, it's like a little Z fold. And then you need another piece that's 8 by 2.5, and again we're going to score at 1 inch and 2 inch on that. And again, we got a nice little Z fold there, and they're going to go together like this. That's going to make our card there. We need another piece that's 1.5 by 1 3/4. And you see I have some lines marked on here. Let's see, let me get my ruler out. I believe I marked this down 1/4 inch. Yes, I made a mark 1/4 inch down on this one side here. This is on the, well, I have it on the right hand side, but you could do it on the left hand side. Doesn't much matter. We're going to flip the paper around anyway. And then I marked from that mark up to the corner here, and that's going to get cut off. So you know what? Let me just do that right now. We're going to cut that piece off. And I'll cut right there. Then on the same side, we're going to measure up from the bottom, and that is 3/4 inch, and then we're going to measure 3/4 inch along the bottom side of this, and I've made a line there, and we're going to score on that line. And I'm just going to use, I have a nice sturdy metal edge ruler here, and it's got cork on the back, so I'm going to flip it over so my metal edge is down. Put it right on that line and just fold my paper up. And then I'm just going to fold it to the back because we want this to get the idea that it's going to fold back and forth. Okay, so we have that piece. It's all ready to go. I'm using the Memento Tuxedo black ink. If you like to color, there's the kitties that I used on here came from Playful Miss Kitty from Heartfelt Creations, the stamp and the die set. I have both of those. And the birds that are sitting on top of the wishing well here, those are from Tweet Cherry Blossoms. That's also from Heartfelt Creations. And there's the stamp and the die set that makes it so easy. You just cut them out. Or if you don't like to color, well, we're using some background papers from this wishing well here and this bit here, and look, there's even bits here and on the inside here. And those came from the Cherry Blossom Retreat collection. Now, also in there is, you'll find a sheet in there like this, and look at that. There's those little birds. You can just cut them out. You can just use your die and cut them out from the paper. And then in the Purr-fect Posies collection, this is the one that has all the kitties in it. Again, there we go. There's our page, and there's Miss Kitty that I have off to the left hand side, and there's our little balloon kitty that I have popping up. So you can just die cut those out if you don't like to color. I colored mine in with my colored pencils because I like to color. But in this class today, we're going to cut them out from the papers. So just to make it easier for everybody. So let's. Oh, and I'm going to need, I don't know where my little piece of acetate went. I thought I had a little piece of acetate here. Well, you know what? Acetate's clear. It's real easy to lose, so I'm going to have to get a new one of those. And you know what? Let me cut out my kitties too, and my little birds. Oh, that's another thing about these little birds. I set out to make a card that will go into a 5x7 envelope, and it will go this way and it will go up to here, but I made a mistake and I put my little birdies off the edge here. And well, I'll show you when we get to this part here, when we're putting these papers on, that it's really quite pretty without these additional birds on it. So, and that would keep you in a 5x7. You can just put in a 5x7 envelope and give it. Otherwise, if you do it just like I did here with these little birdies coming off the edge here, it's not going to fit in the envelope. You're going to have to make an envelope, hand it to them like this, or put it in, make a little presentation type bag to give it to them in. Which is not a bad thing, but it's extra work. So that's your decision which way you want to do that. So let me get the kitties and the birds die cut, and I'll get a new piece of little strip of acetate, and I'll be back. Okay, so the kitties are cut out. I totally forgot about cutting out our little happy birthday sentiment, and that also comes from the Cherry Blossom Retreat collection. But you could stamp your own or whatever. It's got a lot of nice little sentiments here, and these little ticket sized ones. But right there's our happy birthday. So I'm just going to cut that out with scissors. I should put my glasses on though. Let me do that, so I can actually see what I'm doing. So I'll just cut right in there. And cut out that little ticket shape. Okay, now because we have to hide this back behind this front panel, I'm going to trim this down a bit. I'm going to trim down a portion. I'm going to trim off a portion of the wishing well and still have a good piece left on there. And then I'm going to trim this just along the little blue line here. Cut out my little corners there, and I'm going to do, just so it matches, I'm going to just trim a little bit on the little scallop cut out there on the other corner so it matches. So there's our happy birthday. And let's start with the balloon cat while I still know where my acetate is. You see, I put a piece of blue tape on it this time so it didn't disappear. And I've cut this piece at about 3/4 of an inch wide, and it's 4 3/4 inches long. So we'll bring in this little piece. Remember this one that we trimmed the edge off here and made the little fold? I'm going to erase all these pencil marks. It's not going to be obvious, but if you give the card to someone who has to peek inside there and snoop around a little bit, see how this thing actually works, then you'll want to erase it. Okay, so it's going to be glued on this way. You see a little corner here, and the shorter side here, that will be facing to the left side. And we're going to just put this piece of acetate on here. I'm going to center it side to side, but I'm going to keep it outside of this fold. You see, it's not going over the fold here. So I'll glue that in place first. I'm using the Art Glitter Dries Clear glue. Ooh, I've got a nasty little smudge of it there. Okay. I'll put that on my acetate and just kind of slide that down in place here. Let that smear around a little bit. If it oozes out the edges, you really don't have to worry about it with this. It's not like the Tombow. It won't dry sticky. And now we want to tilt this just a little bit towards the left hand side here, so that it's more lined up with this edge. That's going to be our top edge. It'll be just hiding behind the that little front part of the card. So now I'm going to glue the kitty on. Just put a good amount of glue on the back of him. And we're going to put him so that his tail is just, and the strings are just hanging down a little bit there. Oh, I see a little piece that didn't pop out when I die cut. Let me get that little piece out. There we go. So we've got the kitty part attached. We've not glued down the balloon part yet, because we're going to put some glue over on the left hand side of our happy birthday. And we're going to slide that in under the balloon strings. Just like that. Now we'll glue the balloons down. I can just lift them up. I'll put some glue right here on the acetate and press them down in place. And there we go. There's our little part for the inside of the card. Now let's decorate these pieces, these big pieces here. So I used this paper from the Cherry Blossom Retreat collection. You see there's our wishing well, and then here's our sky that we're using for the larger piece of card. I'm going to start with the wishing well here. Let me bring in my trimmer. And yes, Stampin' Up's getting rid of these. Now this piece here is 2.5 inches tall, and so I want to leave 1/8 of an inch little border all around that. So I know I want all three of these the pieces we're going to use here, this one, and this one, I know I want those to be 2 1/4 inches tall. So I put my paper in my Stampin' Trimmer. Oh, let me turn it around this way. So 2 1/4 inches. Line that up, get that butted up against the top here real well. And I'm just going to use my cutter. I'm just going to come and cut straight across here. And when I get near the wishing well, I'm going to stop. You can't really see exactly where you are to the wishing well, so just where you think you want to be, that's where you want to stop. So we've got this bit here cut out. And I'm just going to loosely cut all around the wishing well image here. And I'll meet up with the end of my cut line. Let's see where I stopped cutting. Right about there? I don't know. There we go. Okay, so it looks like this now. Now we need to cut out the bit for the very front. So right for this piece here. And that is 6 inches across. So again, we're going to take off an 1/8 inch for each side. That's 1/4 inch. So we're going to cut at 5 3/4. So we'll put our piece in this trimmer here with the wishing well over to the left, and we'll cut that at 5 3/4. Okay, so there's the piece for the front, and that's going to go just like this on the front of our thingy here. Then we need our pieces to decorate this bit and this bit. Those are 1 inch wide. We're going to make those 3/4 of an inch wide, and we're just going to continue here. And you may have to use your lines, the line on your trimmer here, a little bit, because this doesn't quite get to the edge there. Okay, so next piece, and I'm using my line and cut that piece. Okay, so they're going to go on just like this, so it continues on. So let's glue those down in place right away. Now remember, you don't want to glue up on this top part here of the wishing well. And get that centered there nicely. Okay, so that's on. Then our next piece will be here. And we'll glue that in place. And the next one. So it looks like just a continuation of our little scene here. Now we can do the big part. But that's going to go this way. Just like so. So we'll bring in this piece here where we trimmed off everything. And this piece is 5 inches tall. So we know we want a piece that's 5 inches tall. And I happen to know that this section here is plenty of paper for that area on our card. So 5 inches minus the 1/4 inch is 4 3/4. So I'm just going to trim straight across here. And I have a piece that looks like this. Not too pretty, is it? But that's okay. Now for this piece here, this large one, that's 6 inches across here, just like our bottom, our other piece there. So I'm going to cut at 5 3/4. I'm leaving our 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so there's my 5 3/4 piece. And once again, we need 2 3/4 inch pieces, because our little side panels there are 1 inch by 5 inch, or yeah, 1 inch by 5 inches. That's right. And that will go right there. And one more. Okay. So let's glue those in place. And this one. You want to make sure that your paper just continues on here. Don't get them mixed up. And our last piece. Right there. Okay, now we're going to go back to this shorter one here. We're going to turn this over. And this middle section here, not this end, but this middle section here, that's where we're going to be working. And our cat is going to go face down on there. I want Kitty face down. And we want to work just inside that crease line. You want to give yourself just a little bit of room there. And we're going to glue just the triangle folded part down to this paper. I have the edge, which is the shorter edge, lined up with the top of the paper, and you'll notice this piece sticks out. That's alright, that's good, that's how we want it. So we'll put some glue on there. I'm going to fold that down. Then I'm going to fold this back like this, just to make sure that I don't glue this front part here down. All I want is that little triangle glued down. Okay, so now we're ready to glue the card together. So we want our cat folded down, just like this. We'll bring the large section in here. And I'm going to glue just this end piece. Okay. We need to line that up. We need this left side lined up, and we need the bottom lined up here just perfectly. Okay. Now we can fold this piece up, and we're going to put our glue. I'm going to hold my paper here so I can see where the glue needs to go. So I'm just going to put my glue there. And we'll cover this with the front section and just hold that in place for just a few seconds, just to make sure the glue has a chance to grab. Okay, so here's our main thing is that cat pops up. Okay, now I was saying before that if you don't want to have to make your own thing, well, this sticks up just a little past the edge too, but that could easily be trimmed down a little bit more. If you don't want to make your own, see, there's it with the birds, there it is without the birds, and there is a little bird on there. So if you want to forget about these birds, then you can do that. I give you permission. So I'm just going to put some glue along the bottom part of this this die cut, because the top part will be sticking out off the edge. And I just put them right on top here. So a little extra something on there. Okay, so that's in place, and all we have left is Miss Kitty for the front. Now Miss Kitty on the front, most of her tail hangs off the edge. So we're not going to put glue there. We're just going to put the glue on the rest of her. Okay, and she'll go right here on the card. And our card is finished. So if you liked my video, be sure to hit that like button down below. If there are any Stampin' Up! Products, not too many of them here, but if there are any Stampin' Up! Products ever that you want to buy, you could do that through either my Facebook page or my blog. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below there. And while you're looking down there, there's a subscribe button, and is the most amazing thing, and I think it's something new, fairly new with Facebook, that when you click on that subscribe button, a little bell will come up. And if you click on that bell, then what will happen is every time that I post a new video, Facebook will Facebook. It's not Facebook, it's YouTube. Duh. YouTube will give you a little notification that I've put a new video up. Now, if you've been following my videos, you probably know by now I generally post one every Wednesday. But it's just a little reminder. It's not a bad thing. And there's our card. Happy birthday. Now, where do you sign this card? I don't know. I guess on the back. You could write a little note on the back and sign it, and everybody would be happy. So here's the one that where I colored in the birds. There's the one where I just cut out the images from the pattern papers. And well, here's a thought for you too. If you like that little brighter look, you could always just add a little bit more color to these too. So you all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.